Chairman of the Board of Adjustment, and the meeting is hereby called to order. If we can have a roll call, Mr. Brad Walker.
Present.
Ms. Kathy Desideer.
Present.
Mr. Jim Cecil.
Present.
Mr. Bryce Cox. Present. And we'll show that Mr. David LeBlanc is absent. At this point, we'll have our public comment period. This is where the public can speak to the function of this board in general, not to a specific agenda item tonight. You can tell us how good or how bad we're doing or anything like that. Does anyone wish to speak during the public comment period for this issue? Seeing no one, can we have a motion to accept the minutes of May 27th?
I move. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Minutes are accepted. Can I have a motion to accept the written decisions?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the written decisions for May 27th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Do we have some people not voting?
No. Aye.
Okay.
I said aye.
The ayes have it. Motion is carried. Now we'll move into the variances. The first item on the agenda is the zoning review 1984 for Martin. I'm going to mess this up, so forgive me. Padal? Padal?
How about 1894, not 1984?
1894. Sorry, my dyslexia is kicking in. If you'd sign in, please, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Excuse me. My name is Tracy Vucci. I'm an agent with Padial Real Estate, and I'm here representing Martin Padial regarding the property located at Prairieville Office Park off of Jefferson Highway. This is a business park. Excuse me. This business park currently has 89 parking spaces. We have submitted a request for a variance for the reduction of the required parking under code. It currently consists of 3 existing buildings and 1 commercial building for recreational activity. That is with a total square footage that would exceed the limit of required parking. We have 89 spaces, and we requested for a reduction by 25% of the code requirements to allow for us not have to make any additional parking spaces at this facility, because we have 2 more buildings to build, proposed 2,400 square feet, and we want to preserve the green space and not have to make any more parking available to meet code and for building permits to be issued for the remaining 2 buildings.
What's going to be the use of the 2 potential buildings that you would build? Commercial buildings?
There'll be office space. Yes, sir.
Which will have people
Yes,
working
sir.
there?
Yes, sir.
And they'll drive to work?
Yes, sir.
So you want to build more buildings and reduce the number of parking spaces. Is that what you essentially want to do?
Yes, sir, because we have 89 spaces currently. And by building these 2 additional buildings that would total 4,800 square feet, we would exceed the limit required under code for the available parking spaces. So we asked for the reduction by 25% so that we would meet code.
Where are y'all preserving the green space?
Well, for those 2 pad sites that are remaining, that's the only land available that we would have to add the 5 more spaces. That
Right,
it would
but if you only
require.
built 1 building, then you would have green space.
Right. But if we have 2, one's already sold, the second one is available for purchase, that we would like to go ahead and be able to have the variance approved so that we can sell the last pad site.
Where's the hardship?
Well, the hardship is with the available parking. I mean, we have 1 commercial recreation facility that is only open Tuesdays and Thursdays from the hours of 10:30 to 2. They're closed during the on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, open on the weekends for birthday parties, and do not open for the public. You have to have a party reserved.
Eliminating one of the buildings wouldn't give you enough parking?
Well, we have enough space now to do that if we did eliminate one of the buildings, but if we did get the approval for the variance, then we would be able to sell the last remaining pad site that was available.
Is there 86 or 89?
There's 89. I
spaces?
apologize for that. The information was submitted incorrectly.
Okay, and Jump and Jive is not open every day during
No,
the
ma'am.
summer?
There's no information that
They're
you may or
only
may not
open
have.
2 days during the summer.
During the week,
That's it.
on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
But during the summer, they're not open on a daily basis.
Only on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10:30 to 2. And they're closed Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then they're open on the weekends for scheduled and planned birthday parties.
Is
And
there
not
any
open to the
legal thing
public.
that keeps them from opening 5 days a week?
I'm sorry?
Is there any legal reason why they could not be open 5 days a week if they chose to do so?
Not to my knowledge. I have.
So potentially that space, that building could be used like any other building.
If they chose to do so.
Okay. Any other questions by board members?
Is there 86 parking, that's enough for the current buildings that are there, right?
Yes, sir. And we calculated our figures. We have the three existing buildings consist of a 2,900 square feet office space, a second office space of 2,481 square feet, and a third office space of 1,754 square feet. We have two buildings of 2,400 square feet that we have proposed to build if we are able to get this approved, this variance approved for parking to meet the requirements of the code. The 11,200 square feet that consist of Jump and Jive, which it consists of, the code under Ascension Parish does not have anything, parking requirements for a recreational commercial type building. We've reviewed the code and requirements for East Baton Rouge Parish, which would require 201 space for every 250 square feet of the net usable floor area. Which, if we were to calculate it using the 75% of that East Baton Rouge Parish requires, that would allow us to consider Jump and Jive as 8,400 square feet, which would require 34 parking spaces in addition to the 60 that we would have for the existing buildings that are there in the two proposed buildings, for a total of 94 spots. And we're not asking for a variance for 5 additional parking spaces, only because the only green space that we have is on those two remaining, well, actually one remaining pad site that would be left. So we would like to have the 25% reduction, which code in Ascension Parish says, at the discretion of the board, could be approved.
Any other
I'd like to
questions?
open it for public hearing.
Second.
Okay, the public hearing is open. This is where people in the audience or that can speak for or against it. So if you'd step aside, you'll have a chance for rebuttal. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this variance request? Step up and sign in, please, and you'll have a couple, 3 minutes to speak as well. Manual waiver. State your name, sir.
My name is David Ellis. I'm the owner of Ascension Family Dentistry. I'm one of the occupants in this Prairieville Office Park development. First of all, I'd like to thank this board for the opportunity to present all sides of the story. I've been there for just over 2 years now. There are currently 2 full-time occupants in the development, which is Jump and Jive and my office, Ascension Family Dentistry. There's a third opening this next week, Ascension Endodontics. And there is, at this time, at least at this time, it's a part-time occupant, which is the Foot Care and Surgery Center. As a development right now, we're almost at full parking capacity when Jump and Jive is busy. As it is, my staff has to park away from our building to leave space for our patients. And my staff alone requires 7 parking spaces without the use of a handicap space. It would take most of the available parking spaces in front of my building. So what we've done is we've had to move kind of over to leave some spaces for our patients to park. Any additional buildings without significantly more parking space will create further problems for all of us, as well as the next unsuspecting occupant to come into this development. In the initial master plan for this development that was submitted, there was never included a building where the foot care and surgery center is now. In fact, I believe that where they put that building is now taking 10 of the parking spaces that were originally part of this development in the original submittal. This office, being the foot care surgery center, uses space that potentially could have provided more of the parking. Now there is a small lot remaining, which is the area that they're talking about as the 2 available office pads. But it certainly does not appear to provide adequate additional parking for another building, and no additional parking if 2 buildings are squeezed in. 1 or 2 additional buildings would create a development nightmare, which is bad for all of us except the developer who gets the money, but obviously doesn't have to deal with the problem. So that's on my behalf. Dr. Blair Grimial, who owns Ascension Endodontics, opening this next week, is in New Orleans, and he's not able to be here tonight. But I do have a paragraph. If I have time in my 3 minutes, can I read his as well? Okay. To whom it may concern, my name is Dr. Blair Grimial, and I am the owner of Ascension Endodontics located in Prairieville Office Park. It has been brought to my attention that there is a proposal to build 2 new buildings in 2 of the vacant lots within the office park in the near future. As I would welcome the addition of new businesses to our area, I am afraid there is not enough parking to accommodate 1, much less 2 new establishments. Should the new buildings be built without the addition of more parking spaces, I firmly believe it will have a negative impact on the current businesses' ability to adequately serve our patients' customers in the way we intended when we first purchased the property. As such, I would ask that the council approves the council approves the construction of the new buildings if and only if the appropriate amount of parking space be added prior to construction. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Have you signed in? Come up and state your name, please.
My name is Deneen Dudley, and I am one of the owners of Jump and Jive, who also is a tenant in this complex. And I have brought for you this evening some pictures that were taken of the parking lot from a Thursday, June the 19th at 11:30 a.m. And on this day, would you like to see the photos? Oh, put them here. Oh, it projects. Okay.
I think if you lay it down, it'll be in focus.
Oh, it'll be in focus? Okay. And then you... Okay. I think I have it. Okay. Basically, what this shows is the development at 11:30 on a Thursday. And to make a correction earlier, Jump and Jive is virtually open. We are open from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the summertime, and we're open by private booking for large daycare, summer camp, school, private moms groups on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, all the way until 4 in the evening. We do evening bookings starting at 4 o'clock for private groups, and we're also open from 8:30 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening on Saturday and Sunday. So as long as somebody wants to book, our doors are open. So we do have a considerable amount of traffic during the middle of the week. These are just some pictures of the facility. This is Dr. Lee's office, which did take 10 of the original parking places that were designated for the facility, the complex as a whole. And as you can see by a lot of these pictures, The only two businesses that were actually in operation at the time of these were Dr. Ellis's dental practice and Jump and Jive. We had approximately 100 children in our building. Dr. Lee's office was not open, and of course Dr. Grimion is still under construction and was not open at the time of these photographs. Of the approximate 87 of approximately the 87 parking spaces that we have in the facility, there were only 7 available at this time. And we have a capacity in our building set by the state fire marshal of 384 individuals, and we were probably at 44% of our capacity in the building at this time. And you can see there's only 7 spaces available. We have sustained wonderful growth here in Ascension Parish. After 4 years, we are still seeing continued growth. We were voted #1 birthday party place in 2008 by Parents Magazine readers from Ascension and Baton Rouge. And we are thinking, we're hoping we're going to see increased growth. And with increased growth comes increased demand for parking. And as Dr. Ellis said, we do not want to suffer the negative effects that are going to come, the loss of revenue, the damage to our reputation once customers realize that there's not adequate parking for them when they book a private party and they come in and it's congested and there's not a place in our complex for them to park. Simply, they will just choose another facility to use. Another one of our concerns is the ability for safety vehicles to actually approach the building. And we feel that if the parking lot is even more congested, they already have some challenges getting to the front of the building. We feel that with the parking lot being even more congested, it's going to complicate matters even further. So just once again, we're worried about sustainable growth concerns for Jump and Jive, the safety concerns, and just the congestion that we already feel as a business, and hopefully we'll see more of with the growth of our business in Ascension.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Hi, my name is Tiffany Dyson. I am the co-owner of Jump and Jive, and I just wanted to reiterate everything that my business partner is saying, and that we do hope to continue to grow at the pace we've been growing over the last 4 years. And with the other 2 offices that are not currently operating 5 days a week, we just see without question that there's not going to be adequate parking. And as small business owners making a decision to locate to this particular business park in the first place, the developer approached us and asked us to be the anchor tenant. So we were the first ones to sign on to this particular piece of property, which allowed him, to develop it and attract other businesses to the park. But based on the information at that time, there were originally 97 parking spaces in this development, and those are the numbers that we used to decide to go ahead and locate our business here, feeling that it would have enough parking for us to sustain the growth that we hoped that we would have. And since then, the development of the Foot Care Center, Dr. Lee's office, adjacent to Jump and Jive, has already taken 10 of the original spaces that were there, and just very concerned about the ability for us to grow and continue as a business in Ascension Parish. And I appreciate your time for listening to us tonight.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Could I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Close public hearing, please.
Second.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Are there any additional comments, concerns, or questions from board members?
No,
I'm sorry, I forgot about your rebuttal. You're entitled to rebuttal. So you'll have 3 minutes as well.
you can still close public hearing.
Yeah.
I just want to state that, with the last remaining pad site available to give some sort of relief to that, if a request could or a limit could be made on the square footage that could be built, that would, reduce the amount of parking space that would be required, so that we could at least obtain an approval, the variance approval for the pad site 3 for the building that has been, the permit that's been denied because of the parking variance issue.
All right, do the board members have any additional comments, questions, or concerns?
Yeah, I have a question. Lance, can they build one of these buildings with the current parking they have? Or they need more parking even to build one of these?
They need more parking if they build one of them.
What kind of variance would they need just to build one of them?
They would need 102 spaces total, and if they have 89 today, that's 13 spaces.
So if they only build one building, then they've got enough room to put the other 13 spaces, or no?
It looks like there's enough room.
Okay, so they wouldn't really need a variance to build one building.
They just
Correct.
have to add the parking in on the other space. Okay.
Okay. My major concerns have to do where the location of this business park is anyway. It's a very busy area. That little road that goes through there to Swamp Road has a lot of traffic on it. If these units and this parking spots are at capacity, there is no other place to park. There's no shoulders, there's, is it Our Lady of the Lake now? St. Elizabeth, that has the medical center across from it. That's not going to be offering any other park, and I don't really see a hardship here.
Are you making a motion?
I'm about to.
Okay.
I'm about to make a motion that we deny it because there is room for one more building and ample parking spots without a variance. So I'll make the motion that we deny the variance.
I'll second that.
Do we have a motion and a second to deny? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm
All
abstaining.
opposed, like sign. You're abstaining? Okay, so we have 3 to reject, so that's still a majority, so I don't need to vote. Ma'am, your motion is denied. Thank you. For your variance is denied. Next item is 1895, Lot 13 of the Colonial Superb Village for Shane Sullivan.
I'm Shayna Sullivan. I am here this evening to request a variance so that I can add an addition on to my existing 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. I understand that I can't go within 20 foot of my property line, so I think I would only need maybe 3 foot. I'm not quite certain.
2.84, ma'am. 2.84 is what you need.
That's better?
That's what your variance is requesting.
Okay, good.
Was the 2.84 taken into consideration the building overhang or no?
Yeah, it says it on there, it does.
Okay.
I think I've read that on there.
And now, you had already began construction? Is
I
that what
did.
happened?
I did. I had no idea. I had no idea about permits. I was told by a friend that he could do it for a lot cheaper than if we would hire a contractor. So I did, and I let him go, and we got a stop work order on our door and called Lance, and he informed us of everything we needed to do in order to finish it.
What state is the building in right now? How far
It's
have you gotten
framed.
along? It's framed?
Mhm.
She's not in any type of drainage servitude or any, okay, so,
Not with 17. She's got 1760, 17.60. Second.
Public hearing is open. Does anyone else in the audience wish to speak for or against this variance request?
Second.
Public hearing is closed. Do the board members have any additional comments, concerns, or questions?
I'd like to make a comment. I know that you got done through a friend and everything, but Pete, we've got to understand that we do have laws that we have to abide by. Permits, everything else, they have to be abided by. And this should have been checked, and it does make me upset, and I'm going to state that for the record. It just upsets me to know that, you know, that people are actually going to do that without knowing that we don't have laws. We do have laws. And I'm not chastising you. I just want to make sure the reason why you're here today is now you know about the law. And it makes it tough. It makes me tough to make a decision on this. But it's understandable. I've been there, done it. But I'd like to go ahead and make a motion, if I can, go ahead and approve as requested, because I think it's in harmony of the location.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve as written. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Ma'am, your variance is granted.
Thank you.
The next item is 1896 for Angela Decato.
This is the one I saw the overhangs on, y'all. I'm sorry.
Is there anyone here to speak for this?
I'm sorry.
It's Angelina.
Angelina.
I know, but I don't think they Angelina.
I don't think there's anybody here, so you want to hold this to the end of the meeting?
I'll make a motion that we delay it till the end of the meeting, see if somebody shows up.
I'd like to make a substitute motion that we move it to the next meeting,
Okay.
next month's meeting.
We have a motion to delay it to the end of the meeting. Do I hear a second for that? Okay, that's going to die for lack of a second. We have a substitute motion.
I'll second that, and then we can always delay it if necessary.
All right, I'll withdraw my motion.
Can we delay it if necessary at the end of the meeting? We can do anything we
Yes,
want, is that
yeah.
what you're saying?
Okay.
No, you can delay it to the end of the meeting, and that would probably be the best idea, to see if somebody shows up.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to delay it to the end of the meeting. So the next item is 1897, Lot 16, retreat of Ascension for Greg English. At least that name I can pronounce. Well, there was a lot of head nodding, so I take that as a...
For the record, that passed.
The motion did pass.
We nod,
I withdrew
we
mine.
sigh.
You withdrew.
I withdrew my motion.
My name is Mark English. I'm speaking on behalf of my dad, Greg. What we're requesting is a variance of a rear yard setback to allow him to build an outdoor kitchen within that setback, encroach the setback only. There are no servitudes. The closest neighbor at the rear, who has given us written permission, or excuse me, his written agreement with what we're doing, is over about 100 yards or so away. And I've got some pictures of the...
You said you had a written comment from your neighbors?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that?
I sure do.
On both sides or the back or what?
We have a petition for all the homeowners on that street. I'll
Okay.
place it here.
Saying that they are okay with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't know if you can actually read
I
that too
can't read
well,
that.
but I can get a copy of it for
That's
y'all.
fine.
And then at the rear, the homeowner's name is Mr. Henry Glenn, and it's a single-family residence. You can see, this is the house here of Mr. Glenn's, and this is my father's house here. And then I'll give you a copy of the letter. If you like me to read it, or
I don't see nothing for you to read it. I think we can all read it.
Yeah, we can read that one.
But again, I mean, he's not asking to build over any servitudes. All he's asking to do is encroach the setback itself.
Does the board have any questions of this applicant?
So we open a public hearing.
Sorry. We're going to give you the financial hardship on it, so.
What is the depth from the house to the fence?
Currently? Or with the new?
No, currently, without anything there.
It's 21.34 feet. I know that's kind of cloudy.
So from the back of the house is 21.
Yes, sir, currently.
So when technically the building line's 20.
Yes, sir.
There's only one?
20-foot yard setback. Again, the outdoor structure he's going to build. Give you a quick. The shingles and all are going to match the exact roof. It'll look real similar to the building itself.
This
It'll
is what
have-
he wants to build, or this is
This
what's
is this
built?
is a similar style structure. It's going to have cypress columns instead of the stucco. The shingles will match. All of the drainage will be picked up by guttering and landscape drainage, so as not to put any kind of drainage back on anyone's property.
But all the drainage from the backyard actually goes under the fence into a ditch along the neighbor's property, correct?
Currently, yes, but once this gets in, the landscape drainage and gutter will pick up and bring it back to the front.
To the front yard?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said the structure is going to be a 10 by 15. Is it lengthwise of the house? Is the 15 part running the length of the house, or is it more towards the fence?
It's I'll zoom in the plans for it right here. It's 14 foot back from the rear of the house and 17 foot wide.
So the longer section, the shorter section runs from the house towards the fence.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How far is the fence off from the servitude?
Off the property
There
line.
is no servitude. There was a servitude, drainage servitude, but it's been revoked.
It's been revoked.
Yes, sir.
Was it revoked for the whole subdivision or just that lot?
The whole subdivision. Is it? I'm sorry. Is it just that side?
Just that side,
But it
the
runs
north side.
For the entire.
Right, the entire,
length of
Oh,
yes,
so
the
street.
entire
the
land.
Property
Yes, sir.
line, are all the properties on that side?
Yes, sir.
And this was a stop work?
Yes, sir, it was. The work he had started on it, did not pull a permit on it. His house was being built by a local contractor who essentially had no involvement with his outdoor kitchen, so there's no need for him on it. He was given certain requirements, Mr. Laverne Bourgeois, to meet, and once he met those, part of those requirements are to get a variance request.
This contractor had a license? Just out of curiosity?
Yes, sir. But I mean, again, it was done at the very end of the construction period. I mean, I can't speak on behalf of that builder.
Okay, I shouldn't have asked that question.
Is there some reason the outdoor kitchen can't be turned and the shorter side of it, so you'd have more space between the fence and the
Well,
kitchen? The
yes, ma'am.
12-foot side.
One
The
thing
short
that-
side is going back to the rear.
I thought that's the 17-foot side.
No, the 14
No,
goes
this
back
14.
towards from the house to the
See, here's the
fence.
house.
Here's the fence
Oh.
at the
Short
rear,
side is
right here.
back here. This is the long side.
It is the short side that's going there
Okay,
now.
so
And
it's
I,
14
Kathy,
foot.
just to address that comment a little bit, when they were asked, from what I understand from just gathering information on this variance, when they were asked to cease and desist the building or whatever, they complied and tore down that part of it. They were not asked to tear out the concrete that they had already poured for this kitchen.
Oh,
With the
okay.
utilities in it or whatever. So, our board or people that whatever didn't ask them to tear out the concrete. So the
That's
concrete's already
because
there.
pouring concrete doesn't require a permit. You
Right.
can concrete
I
your
know.
whole yard technically.
I know that, but I'm saying that they didn't ask them to do away with any of that. They just said, you know, tear down the building
This,
part of it.
this is 0 lot line, right?
Yeah. It's a 0 lot line.
I mean, is it an open air building, or are we enclosing this building?
Open air.
Well, it's open air now. There's nothing-
Well, it'll have a roof on top of it, but the four sides of it will be open. You know, it's still separated from the neighboring yards by a privacy fence. That was in.
That's already there.
We want to open the public,
Moved open public.
Second.
and the public hearing is open. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak for or against this issue? There appears to be none. I'm going to close it.
Close public.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Board members, do we have any more comments, questions, or concerns?
I don't. I think that they have done their homework with the neighbors and seen that the neighbors are satisfied with it. I do think it's going to be an open-air kitchen, a nice-looking kitchen that's going to be in compliance with the, you know, with the neighborhood. And I think for the reason that they can't build any closer to the house, I will make a motion that we accept the variance as written.
Can I make an amendment?
Sure.
That the variance is given with the condition that the drainage be put in to drain to the front, where the, y'all have the underground, and that's possible?
Sure.
Okay. And that it does remain open air.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll
Is that a second?
I'll second the
So you
motion.
second with
Second the amendment.
with those adjustments.
We have a motion and a second
Uh,
as amended.
Before we vote, is that agreeable that the drainage coming to the front?
Well, that's-
Which you've already said that the drainage is going to
that
come
was
to the
so
front.
stated by him.
I don't know that it would be possible for it to drain toward the front. We'd have to go over a ridge in the front, but what I'd planned to do was just take the downspout drainage from the house and the kitchen and then direct it to the ditch that's directly behind the house.
Okay. Okay.
So as
Yeah,
long as it's directed
I
in-
think we'd be
Yeah.
fighting uphill to drain it toward the front.
and
Okay, as long as it's going to drain out into a drainage ditch and not affect your
Correct.
side yard neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
I think Mr. Laverne was.
This situation has stemmed to this part now due to the fact that the gentleman built a structure without properly being permitted. And the contractor who allowed his employees to work, it wasn't through a licensed contractor. The gentleman actually hired unlicensed contractors to do the building because it was not through the contractor himself. Had he came to us and asked for a permit to put this structure there and plan review, he'd have been denied. I just want y'all to understand that the precedents to set here will last forever and ever and follow on through the rest of the building and construction of Ascension Parish. As the lady in previous mentioned, we're still under the construction phase of building day and night. So I just want you to understand this variance, if allowed, will set a precedence for the future.
How do you think that this is different than the one that we just passed on just a moment before?
Well, I mean, there's a big difference in it. I mean, one's 3 feet versus one's 17 feet from the back property line.
What is the difference? What was her hardship versus their hardship?
Well, no, I mean, the hardship is about the same, but we're talking about 3 feet versus 17 feet.
Well,
There's a big difference there. I mean,
we
here,
allowed someone who had already constructed, framed in a building that was open to servitude.
we take that into
outside the law
consideration.
that we allowed them to do.
Right, we take that into consideration, but then we also take into consideration the amount of distance between the back to the front on access to the backyard, things like that. So, I mean, yeah, I understand the hardship is still the same as the one previously, but they were asking for 3 feet. This is asking for 17 feet, which puts the actual structure roughly less than 3 feet to the property line. I mean, you can barely walk through 3
Totally
feet.
different situation because you don't have as much room behind the house as you did on the other.
Right, you already have, the house is already 1 foot from the build line in the beginning.
Difference being a subdivision with a 0 lot line.
Well, we have a motion and a second with an amendment. All in favor of the motion with the second, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I oppose.
Mr. Walker?
Well, I seconded it, the amendment, so
Okay. Well, then it looks like it passes.
the amended version.
The amended version passes. Your variance is granted, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Laverne?
Mr. Chairman, for clarification, what was meant by open?
Can't put any sides on it, has to be open air.
He can have a roof, but he
Well,
can't, he can't
All
enclose
right,
the side.
all right, let me let you know a little bit about building codes. He's within 5 feet of the property lines. The building code requires residential property that's within 5 feet to be fire rated. So in fact, it cannot have an opening on that side as a structure.
Well, that would be in the, whatever's in the code. If it says it's got a fire rated, then it's gonna be open except for whatever the firewall.
You may have to close that side if I review something different, see an exception that I can help with.
Can it be just a 1 hour firewall? 5 HP.
Whatever firewall he has to have on that side.
Mr. Laverne?
According to that law, he would
Yes.
have to have.
He has to still meet all the regulations that's required for the 0 lot lines, and because we give him a variance, he still has to go with everything. So
Yes.
if he's got 3 sides open, so be it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, moving back to 1896, which we had previously passed over. There doesn't appear anyone to speak for this.
Make a motion to move it to the next month's meeting.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to move it to the next month's meeting. Yeah, we can have some discussion before
And,
we
you know,
vote.
we've talked about precedents here tonight, we've talked about on that variance before and stuff like that. What in the past have we done, and I'm just trying to recall everybody's memory, what have we done with this when people don't show up like this? Have turned it down?
You have 2 options. One, you can go ahead and make a decision tonight, and they have to abide by it, okay? Or 2, you can give them the courtesy and move it to next month, or move it to the end of the meeting. And I think a motion was put on the floor that we move it to the next meeting, and Ms. Desideer had seconded.
Right, and I agree with that, and the motion, I'm just discussing this motion, okay?
Right.
Because I'm asking the question, James, when you were chairman, okay, in the several dedicated years that you gave as chairman, what did we do when these situations came up?
We generally moved them to the next meeting.
Is that what we did?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Sometimes we denied them because they did not come,
Or it was repeat.
or it was a repeat not showing up. But Lance fussed at us because that put them in maybe a unfavorable position if they could not change the motion
Yeah.
that they were asking for. So then, in lieu of that, then we decided that we would move them to at least one more meeting.
And I'm okay with moving one more meeting with the motion. I just want to discuss this so that we're not setting the precedent, that we're consistent with
Yeah.
what we're doing, okay?
And-
Well, I think
Because
the only
it
reason-
could be that they had a traffic wreck that we don't know
Right.
about, and they got stopped or something of that nature.
That's-
And I
that's-
certainly don't want to vote on their motion with them not here.
This board historically has given the courtesy to the applicants to move them to the next meeting.
Okay, to give them at least another month.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm usually the one that does it.
That's fine.
So
I'm good with that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to move this one item to next month. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We put it on the agenda for next month. Before we adjourn, I've got a couple of things I want to pass out. As you guys know, we've all been working on, kind of working on trying to get our, some operating guidelines and
Official
such put
operating
together.
guidelines.
So I've put together some stuff just for you to read, so that maybe next month we can have some discussion and try to get us some guidelines put together. So having said that,
Is there any,
and
forward
I'm sorry,
progress.
I have copies of the parish ordinance for everybody, too. I'll send it to you by email or fax it to you.
Not change the subject. Do we have any progression on a new member to this board? Was that put in the paper? That's the more adequate question. Was this put in the paper?
I'm pretty sure that they advertised for it. Again.
Pretty sure?
You need me to do another commercial?
Yes, sir. Please do another commercial.
Give your phone number out again?
Yeah, no.
Would
don't
you
give a
like
phone.
5 minutes now?
Jim, I met with the parish personnel committee and made them aware that we need to have fully staffed so we can, have a little bit of buffer in case somebody can't make the meeting.
Well, I will be here for the July meeting. Good Lord willing, I will be here for the July meeting. After that, I know that there's a couple of meetings I missed, and y'all all know that. I mean, that's my livelihood, my occupation. But, so I'm hoping that they can get somebody else so that I'm not putting y'all in the jam by not being here.
I understand.
But
Do
my
we,
livelihood does come first.
I can't imagine why, Bryce. Is there anything else that we wants to bring up?
If
Do we
it's
hear a
not on the
motion?
agenda, that's, no, you're not supposed to bring something up if it's not on the agenda.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about comment-wise. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Is that on the agenda?
I'll second it.
I have a motion.
Is it on the agenda to adjourn?
To adjourn, that's on the agenda.
All in favor, say aye.
Say
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.